Greetings and salutations. It's been a while since the last proper review. I've been extremely busy being as useless as possible, but I finally got around to a project I've been putting off, Touhou Endless Dream. It's a roguelite game where you go around blasting stuff to bits and die a horrible death in seconds if you mess up, which is completely on brand for the Gensokyo way of life. You get multiple characters to play that have their own unique playstyles, but we can only play as the ultimate gamer named Rumia at first. You start out in a picnic area surrounded by fellow Touhous. The area will expand with more people as you play the game. You can go around and have humorous chats with everyone. Just don't talk to Rumia until you're done. Talking to her will start your run, because an incident is about to happen and it's all Rumia's fault. The gameplay is simple. Left click to shoot, right click to use your ultimate, and spacebar to dash. Since I often talk about controller features in these Touhou fan games, I will say the controller support is completely terrible. You have to use a mouse and keyboard for this game. When you clear an area, you'll get a passive item that helps you along with some food. You get to choose where you go afterwards, but since Rumia has plunged the world into darkness, you can only go as far as there is light. So you gotta make your decisions close by. Be warned that the darkness will continue to expand from the center, so if you continue to stay in areas too close, you'll get swallowed by the darkness. After so many regular areas, you will encounter boss battles. The boss you will get depends on the zone you go into as well. They have a couple phases that trigger once they reach a certain health threshold, but they're pretty fun and engaging. And once you defeat them, you get your choice of 3 items. They'll be good passive or active items. The orange items are skills you can activate, and most of them are pretty good. One lets you recreate Oku's sun. Another launches some fireworks, or one that just creates a vacuum that sucks bullets. Along the way, you'll encounter events where you can gain something. If you find Alice, she'll need your help from being dragged by her dolls or some shit. She'll give you a choice of 3 things: purple fragments, leaves, or gold. Starting out, just pick leaves and eventually the purple fragments. More on those materials later. Yuku offers you a choice of some food items, one that gives you invincibility for a very short duration, while Runescape has a shop that you can spend your gold on for some items. Gold doesn't carry over and run, so don't worry about wasting any money. You can also choose to just not buy anything if he doesn't have items you want, because you'll most likely encounter him multiple times per run. That, and you can just kill him and take his whole inventory, which you will probably do at least once inadvertently, because it tells you that you can make purchases by either clicking or hitting the spacebar, but clicking also shoots, so should probably be noted that if you go this route, he's not showing up again in your run. And lastly, there is Rumia, who is probably the best encounter to have. She gives you 3 choices to pick from. You won't know what any of them do until you've picked them at least once before. But before I can even explain this, we gotta go back to the beginning real fast. With this being a roguelite, there are permanent additions to the game that more you play. You'll need those darkness fragments to open up the rest of the camp, and once you've done that, well, you'll get some more important things to spend your monies on. Mamizo exchange leaves for gifts that you can give to other girls to recruit them to your team. These playable girls being Sakia, Marissa, Yomu, Ryzen, Aya, Sanai, and Suika. The cost for each one is a little different though. Aaron takes darkness fragments to give you permanent passive buffs throughout your adventure. Patchy takes book pages to give your girls additional abilities. This is a big deal because it can make your Touhous way more powerful, or even actually playable. Take Yomu for example. She's a melee attacker and a bullet hell roguelike, and you might think that's a bad idea. That's because it completely is. It's very easy to be filled with bullets quickly and die. But one of her upgrades lets you destroy the bullets with your sword, and another upgrade lets you lunge at mobs, taking her from absolute shit tier to one of the best in the game. Kaneko also takes darkness fragments. They unlock up to 2 free items for you to take before you start your run. I want to spend your fragments here until you've unlocked other things first. Alright, there's no avoiding it. It's time to discuss the elephant in the room. The game has some serious translation problems. I usually don't harp on translation oddities too much outside of the occasional laugh, but this game's problems run a bit deeper. Because not only is some of the stuff just not translated, sometimes the kerning, typesetting, or just having a lot of words mashed together comes up. So here, I'll provide a proper translation for this menu here, all courtesy of the community that has helped others out. But now back to Remy. Yeah, remember when we were talking about her? Her encounter gives you some choices that will change how your character plays, but since you have to try it first to know what it is, you'll get a chance to try everything. Just from what I've gathered, what is always usually a passive change, another changes how your basic attack works, and then one usually changes how your ultimate works. For example, Ryzen's ultimate fires a shot that makes copies of enemies that shoot for you, but with Remi's upgrade, you can now cast it like a Nova, allowing you to dash through many more enemies. A favorite of mine is one of Suika's. Suika plays a bit weird since her main attack is like a close range flamethrower, and she gets super big for her ult. But her dash is a mist that lets you go through dangers, unlike the other playable characters. But through one of Remi's upgrades, you can change her dash to last longer and do damage, turning the game into something more like Sonic. Another great thing about Suika is she makes a great partner. You see, once you unlock at least 2 characters, you can bring a second one on your journey as well. The buddy will occasionally throw an ult for you. You can actually swap between playing either character, but that's actually a bad idea, because both characters can equip items, and if you spread your items across 2 characters, then you'll be doing shit damage on both. I really don't even know why this is a thing in the game. It's better to just stack all your eggs in one basket and let the second character just throw ults for you. Oh right, the reason I said Suika is great for this is because your follower talks to you the whole time, and she's like bringing a drunk friend along. While if I bring Reimu, she bitches and calls me a loser the whole time. But hey, at least Reimu's ult clears the bullets for me. Oh, and if you die in your main character, you can pull them around on your second, giving you a chance to escape the level. I just don't recommend dying as Suika when you're in big mode like me. Now to talk about what happens when you light all the torches. Well, once you make it to the end of the darkness, you'll meet Clownpiece, and she'll give you a special torch and tell you to make Gensokyo great again. Then you gotta go into the darkness and stop Rumia. But we gotta clear a few more areas before we can reach her. So this means more boss fights, more encounters, and more ways to suddenly die. I won't lie and say all the items you find are interesting. Most of them are just minor stat changes, and hell, you could even just pick everything up without reading, if it weren't for the bat item that makes you unable to heal yourself normally. There are some pretty fun active items though. For example, a favorite of mine is Yukari's portal thing, which allows you to move somewhere safely and heal yourself a little bit. Kogasa's umbrella, well, it's great at reflecting bullets. But did you know that it can also be used to reflect a rocket's explosion? Well, now you would say you know. And of course, you know there's going to be a time stop item. Using this with someone like Aya, who can blow away bullets with her attacks and tornadoes, it's basically griefing the boss at this point.
Dude, I can't take this shit no more, man.
Another item I was on the fence about was trying the landmine, because I figured it would just be a good way to get myself killed. But I learned that the passive item that blocks you from taking 3 hits in any area also applies to self-damage. So, then I just... Also, while Sanai is considered a bit weak because her ultimate is just wind that pushes the enemy and barely does any damage, well, with a landmine, you now have some very good damage. Once you've placed enough torches, you'll be able to face Rumia, the final boss of the game. She's the most interesting fight, and as long as you don't stand in the beam, she's not too hard to fight either. But, of course, if you're playing on Lunatic, she can definitely kill you in 1 or 2 hits depending on your items. Win or lose, you'll get a score screen along with all the things you've collected. The resources such as leaves, scrolls, you'll use to unlock more characters, abilities, and improve your chances of winning the next run. But before I go into more details, there's another game we need to discuss. That's right, this is going to be a double review. Because there is another very similar game this gets compared to. They're both roguelites, they're both made by companies that have been featured on this show. Endless Dream was made by the studio that did Touhou TD, and Blooming Chaos 2 was made by the same devs as the Mystia game, which might be the best-selling Touhou fan game on Steam at this point. And it's got some noticeable improvements, such as a real translation, proper controller support, the art is top-notch, and the characters are as cute as ever. There's a much larger roster of units to pick from, but most of them are behind DLC, or require unlocking through some of the most tedious grinding I've seen in a roguelike. But hey, if you own the Mystia cooking game they made, you can play as Mystia here if you play this game for exactly 2 hours, which may coincidentally be the amount of time that passes when you can no longer refund a game on Steam. Another major difference is units have permanent levels and stat upgrades. They're all unique skills that cost mana to use. At first, this makes the game feel more enjoyable to start because your character has their full toolkit available from the beginning. But as unique as the characters feel, the maps all feel the same. Every level is just a series of similar looking corridors where the only real choice to make is whether you want to kill a few more mobs or go to the next level quicker. After going through about 5 levels, you'll get to face a boss which you'll probably kill in a few seconds. Then you get to do it all again until you've cleared the entire dungeon. Because ultimately this game turns into you clearing the screen instantly every time. At least the animations are cute though. There's just no need to learn the boss fights when they die instantly. In fact, after I finished all the difficulties, the hardest challenge for me to get on my Steam achievements was literally dying once at all. Because the main game offers no real challenge. But that's not to say there's nothing to do. There are other game modes like Endless or Boss Rush, and that might be the real meat of the game. But that's not my biggest problem I had with this game. What absolutely broke me was the inventory management. In this game, to unlock outfits and additional characters, you need to collect items in order to do so. But you also have a limited inventory space, and your equipment, your things you wear, take up the space as well. So you very quickly fill up your bags, and you have to do some sorting almost every level. They even give you an item that sends all your stuff back to the base. It's so bad. I unlocked a few things before I had to stop myself and ask me what I'm even doing. The problem with this kind of system is there's no interesting items to find. It's all just junk you need to unlock stuff or food that you never really use. There's no feeling of just one more run will change your fate. You just gain levels from killing stuff. Now let's go back to Endless Dream, because this game gets it right. Each run can feel really different, and how you deal with the challenge is up to you. Because Endless Dream is not afraid to kill you. It wants you to face defeat, and then it wants you to find ways that you can break the game. While nothing really changes in Blooming Chaos, so while I don't think it's a bad game, it's just not the kind of game I saw myself playing for very long. Yeah, remember Rumia? Well, after you defeat her the first time, you may realize it wasn't really the final battle. You'll start to suspect such when you do more runs and you encounter diary pages that hint towards the actual finale. Now, I won't fault you for not finding all the pages yourself because all the steps to get them are a bit unintuitive. So if you just played the game normally, you'll probably find 2 of the pages and not know where the first one is. So, here's how you do it. Okay, I'm gonna try to read this up. Here's how to get the secret ending. Talk to Cherno, Mistia, Regal, and Daiose until you get the special dialogue. You'll hear a bell after each one. After that, an exclamation point will appear over Koishi. By the way, she's walking around invisible in the picnic, so you don't see her normally. Talk to her and she'll give you diary page 1. It's that simple. You just gotta talk to those units in that order and then talk to the invisible Koishi character. This is really how it is. Anyway, the final battle is a worthy test of everything you've learned so far to get good. And also a great way to learn that each Touhou has a different starting HP pool. Because if you face her as Sakya, you'll understand what I mean very quickly. And after all that, you're rewarded with a pretty cool ending cutscene that still somehow manages to have one line in Chinese. This game leaves a good bit of frustration because it could be so much better. The translation might never be fixed. Some of the enemies straight up look like placeholder material, but the game loop is fun. The feeling of succeeding after failing multiple times is a good one. That's why I kept coming back to play it. So with that in mind, if translation oddities don't bother you, then hey, give it a shot. Or just watch this footage and say something silly in the comment section like you always do. As for me, I want to have the next Touhou fan game review out sooner. I've just been debating how to handle a few things with the show. Trying to keep these reviews as serious as possible is starting to eat away at my soul. Some spice in your life can be a good thing, so maybe expect a few lighthearted shitposts in the future. Take care, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. A crossover skill with Touhou Mistia's Izakaya, taking the most popular meme of frying rice in that game. Wait, that's a meme? Ah, there it is! Oh, that's great. I love it.